The Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, subsequently the Weston State Hospital, was a Kirkbride psychiatric hospital that operated from 1864 until 1994 by the government of the U.S. state of West Virginia, in the city of Weston. Built by architect Richard Andrews, it was constructed from 1858 to 1881. Originally designed to hold 250 people, it became overcrowded in the 1950s with 2,400 patients. It was forcibly closed in 1994 due to changes in treatments of patients. The hospital was bought by Joe Jordan in 2007, and partly opened to tours and other money-raising events for its restoration. The Allegheny Lunatic Asylum may have been built to help make people well, but it soon became a living hell for its patients. Like many early asylums and mental hospitals built in the United States, the building originally known as the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was constructed using the Kirkbride plan. The approach, created by Philadelphia psychiatrist Thomas Story Kirkbride in the mid-19th century, emphasized architecture designed to have a curative effect on patients, with long, staggered wings that gave all the rooms access to light and fresh air. Unfortunately for the residents of the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, those admirable goals of moral treatment wouldn't last much beyond the construction of the building. Construction of the building began in 1858, with work conducted by prison laborers. Construction was interrupted by the outbreak of the Civil War, but by 1864 the first patients were admitted to the hospital, which by then had been renamed the West Virginia Hospital for the Insane. Construction continued until 1881, and, in an ominous portent of things to come, the grounds of the hospital ultimately numbered 666 acres. By 1880, the hospital, which was intended to house 250 patients, held 717. By 1938, that number had more than doubled, and a report issued by a group of medical organizations listed its population as including epileptics, alcoholics, drug addicts, and non-educable mental defectives. At its peak in the 1950s, the hospital's population had almost doubled again, and the building, which by then was known as the Weston State Hospital, housed as many as 2,600 patients, more than 10 times the number it had been built to accommodate. Besides the nightmarish overcrowding, the patients were kept in substandard conditions. A series of reports published by the Charleston Gazette in 1949 revealed poor sanitation and a lack of furniture, light, and heat in much of the building. While the population of the hospital had decreased by the 1980s, treatment of its patients had not improved, with those patients who could not be controlled spending time locked in cages. The hospital was finally shut down in 1994. When the hospital was shut down, we were giving a stack of doctor's notes and papers. Here is the case of the man who was afraid of the mirror. Robert Jones, a young man in his 30s, was admitted to the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum for overpowering fear of mirrors. He claimed the man he saw each morning would opening chat with him in the beginning about his day-to-day activities. A few years after this had been going on, the man would ask him to do strange things. The man would ask him to cut himself as he shaved and to wipe the blood on the mirror, so he could feel human again. The need for this blood increased. The man had cuts all over his face and arms. Then the man in the mirror asked the man if he would kill another and bring the body to the mirror so the man in the mirror could become whole again. Robert refused at first, but according to the notes, the ma in the mirror would yell and scream at night until Robert finally did as he asked. This happened again and again according to the police report attached to the notes. And then one night the police found Robert in his bathroom covered in blood, crying it was him. The police asked him who. He said the man in the mirror. There's not much more on Robert. And I guess the moral of this story is don't trust the man in the mirror. Stay paranoid, my friends.